You can expect some big-ticket changes in immigration policy, which includes going after people who employ illegal immigrants. I think that is fantastic. Been waiting for that one. Requiring federal contractors to use E-Verify, an online verification program, and it need not go through that pesky Congress, according to union leaders. Anna Nevedo of the AFL-CIO says, quote, it makes sense to do it now, what the administration can do. It doesn't have to go through Congress. It doesn't have to go through the toxic political process. Unions have had nothing to do with that. Kris Kobach is the professor of law at the University of Missouri, Kansas City. He is also former counsel to Attorney General John Ashcroft. Kris, why is this a problem? Isn't this the same thing that George Bush has done in the past?
Well, every administration, when they come in, they have the authority to make administrative changes, issue regulations that are within the four corners of existing law. And unfortunately, what's happening right now is the Obama administration has made three major changes that are signaling that the end of immigration enforcement as we know it.
Okay, give them to me.
It's really disturbing. Well, the first one is they're scaling back worksite enforcement. The second one is that they've withdrawn the so-called no-match rule. And the third one is that they're reducing the authority of state and local police to exercise 287G agreements, kind of like what Sheriff Arpaio has. That's an example. Okay,
hang on. Take it one by one. Because they say, no, we're going after the employers. Which I think you should.
Yeah, that's the well, you should go after both. Okay, let's take number one. That's the end of worksite enforcement. There's been a dramatic increase during the Bush administration years. In fiscal year 2002, there were about 500 worksite arrests for immigration violations. In fiscal year 2008, it went up to over 6,000 arrests. And it was really having an effect. There was a net decrease in illegal aliens in the United States because of this ratcheting up of enforcement. Now the Obama administration is saying, we're not going to do that anymore. No more worksite raids. We're just going to do some audits of I-9s periodically, and we're only interested in arresting the employers, not the employees. Now, see, you've got to arrest both because it's a crime or at least an administrative violation to both employ someone and to be illegally employed in the United States. So the Obama administration is sending out the signal, we don't care about the employees. Let them go try to find a job somewhere else. We're only going to go after those pesky employers. And here's another thing. They've also signaled that they're probably just going to go after them with civil fines, not with criminal prosecutions anymore. There was a conference call where the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Policy at DHS said, our goal is to arrest as few unauthorized workers as possible. So, they're sending the exact wrong signal.
So where does this, here's the thing, Kris, I'm concerned about, that this president is putting in framework, and he's already got a lot of framework, and his new regulatory czar is a nightmare. And that's what this guy does, is look at all of the different laws and see where we can tweak here and there. Where does this take us? What's coming our way here?
I mean, I think we're going to see such a massive change in the level of immigration enforcement, and we can go into the reasons, why that's happening. But here's another example: the withdrawal of the no-match rule. Now, one of the rules that the Bush administration passed is a rule that says if you're an employer and the Social Security Administration detects that you've got a bunch of employees whose names don't match their Social Security numbers, you get a letter. And the Bush administration ratcheted up the enforcement and said you also have to make certain changes to make sure that you are hiring only legal workers and that you don't have a bunch of illegal aliens on your payroll. Well, the Obama administration recently announced they're going to rescind that rule. So that means you may have 100, you may have 1,000 names that don't match the numbers, but you don't have to do anything about it, even if you're notified by Social Security. And by the way, this figure is going to blow you away. Every year, about 500,000 workers file documents under the Social Security number 000000000. So it's just blatant what's happening.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. America, here's the good news. You're going to have a lot more union workers in the future and more people for health care that we can all